Hello everyone and welcome back to our little Halloween series that we're doing on this channel. And great news, Flashback is now updated to 1.21.9 so we can get some great shots and do some cool time lapses of me building rather than having to spend about a week editing everything together. But before we begin, we can take a quick look at what we built last episode. As you can see inside, we had a massive and very nice looking interior with a cool bookshelves, and I worked out a cool building technique to look like some bookshelves were falling out using the brand new shelves. We also have a lot of amethyst just dotted around, a brewing station up here, and through in the kitchen we've obviously got the same sort of carpet design as in here, and some hanging I don't know aspects in the kitchen. And we did use a lot of the brand new 1.21.9 blocks. And up here we've got the bedroom, and as I said last episode, a really good thing to do is to just grab some resin and put it wherever, if it seems a little bare in a room. But this only really works with a magic-y, spooky kind of room, as it just fits it very well. And if we have a look at the outside, we can see we've got quite a white exterior. I'm planning for the build today to be kind of darker, more murky and stuff. And we've got a deep slate roof, and yeah, obviously some resin up a little bit here. And we textured it with some mushroom stem, as before it looked a little plain. Anyway, with that all done, we can finally get started on today's build, which will be sort of a little witch tower, witch hut that'll be placed up here. But the first thing I need to do is do some terraforming, as we don't actually have much space. So I'll get into a quick time lapse, finally, of me doing that. Right, the terraforming is done. I wouldn't say it's my best work, but I guess it'll do. I just tried to extend the part up here where we can build. Anyway, as you can see, I've got a block palette ready. That's for the roof, so we can actually start getting into building. And as you can also see, it's quite more dirty and more rugged than this block palette here. Well, it does include some mushroom stem and a bit of plain oak as well. I've got some smooth sandstone and bone blocks to get a more yellowy kind of tone. And also we've got some more tuff to make it look quite more darker. But without further ado, let's jump in to the building. Now, the vibe I wanted to go for in this build was sort of like a mysterious, spooky, creaky, kind of like witch tower kind of thing that you see in movies. And I wanted to start with sort of a darker base to really highlight the lighter tones that we'll have as we go up. So as you can see here in this replay, I'm sort of trying to figure out how I can get sort of a dishevelled, small kind of crooked door, and I ended up just going eventually with only a 3 or 1.5 block tall door, just to make it so you've got to crouch and you feel I don't know, the arching of the back feels kind of crooked, I guess. And as we go up here, we can see that I've mixed in some more grim colours, grim whites, compared to the house we built last episode. So I'm just trying to build a sort of gradient as I go up. So I've gone from the sandstone to the bone blocks to the mushroom stem, which will really help. And now, as you can see as well, I struggled a bit with the shape. I wanted quite a circular kind of build, and I really struggled with trying to get the perfect shape. And I added a window at the front here, and now you can also see me going all the way up. I added a sort of domed roof, as I really wanted to make that feel. So after this bit, I really got the shape down. I added a tall tower, and I also again struggled trying to get the roof, and eventually I found a reference image of a really cool roof, which is sort of looks like a witch kind of hat with the arched bit at the end. And now I just replaced the top bit of the planks as if it was too much of a sharp or like harsh gradient into stripped pale oak, and then replaced it with pale oak planks. Now, I love adding lots of windows in build, and it can really give lots of natural light, and it just really helps make everything look much better. And now I'm working on the interior. I'm starting with the bit next to the window, adding a similar like shaped doorway to go through as like a double door to kind of add some more depth. And behind later I'll add some cloaks, like witch cloaks in the side in that room. I'm aiming for that to be sort of a cloakroom. And now we go up and build the staircase throughout the tower. I again struggled with this a little bit as I found the shape quite hard to do. Obviously there are probably much better ways than I did in here, but it just really, I felt this was like the easiest method at the time for me. And now for this cauldron here, it was a bit strange because like I didn't really know what to do, but instead of having the plain old like black grey cauldron, I opted to add some dark oak shelves to really make it look like a worn down and more olden days look. And with this pot, I ended up adding like a brewer pottery sherd because that looks pretty cool. I actually didn't realise there was a potion like pottery sherd, so that made it look better. And now here I'm toying with axioms like was setting where you can add like blocks that usually you can't put on top of each other. So I wanted to create a really cool looking custom plant, and in the end at the top where I'm working on now I added like a azalea ear bush in a plant pot with, I think it was like just a normal bush on top, or I just went with that. And I tried toying with a bit of coral, but that just did not work. I couldn't find the setting to make it like not die. If anyone knows that, then please tell me. But yeah, I did actually go with the blue orchid on top and then just added a couple more flowers. I sort of wanted this to be sort of a herb or like flowery kind of witch or wizard, whoever lives here, and that would just make it look so much better. I did end up putting coral up there, but it was the blue coral since I didn't want too much pink. Anyway, moving on to the left, I used the debug stick a little bit to see if I could find a way to make the bottles go on the bottom of the shelves, but I couldn't. But in the end, I feel like this looks great. Alright, so I've detailed the exterior like I think I did pretty well. I did a bit of depth with the signs with the trapdoors and shelves. I might go around a bit later and add some resin like we have on this build here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to head up here. I've started decorating, as you can see, but like I said previously, I want to add a very cool chandelier. So I'm going to do that right now. Right, there's the upstairs potion brewing room done. Now all we need to do is decorate the downstairs. Wow, okay, that's replay mod shots, but actually pretty cool. And if you stayed this far into the video, hopefully that means you enjoyed it. And if you did enjoy it, please drop a like, maybe even subscribe, as it helps me out a ton. So I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next and final episode, which comes out on Halloween. So have a great rest of your good day, and goodbye.